The Hunter Exam, the first arc in the Hunter x Hunter anime to determine one's physical and mental capabilities, in order to find out who is strong enough to protect the world from threats, as well as finding those brave enough to explore the Dark Continent. These trials would be torture and impossible for any normal human to take on. But the person we're covering in today's video is no ordinary man. Many consider this man to be the physical embodiment of mental resilience and willpower. The retired Navy SEAL, ultramarathon runner, and triathlete David Goggins, the hardest man alive. Today, we are going to try and determine whether David Goggins has what it takes to complete the phases of the Hunter exams. Due to the nature of the Hunter exams changing its courses every year, we'll keep it simple and place David in the 287th Hunter exam. Before the actual exam starts, most applicants are forced to navigate through rough seas and weather. And it's at this point of the story where a lot of the applicants were disqualified, simply because they were getting seasick and couldn't handle the strong currents. But this would be no issue for David Goggins. His training as a Navy SEAL would have conditioned his body to endure harsh weather environments during covert missions and reconnaissance operations. His training during Hell Week would further solidify this. 5 days of intense physical exercises, carrying boats that weigh 300 pounds, and crawling around in mud and sand, with only 2 to 4 hours of sleep, submerging yourself in cold waters, with temperatures reaching as low as 4 degrees Celsius. Hell Week was so intense that some people have sadly lost their lives during these exercises, and David Goggins not only did this once, but 3 times. So needless to say, he would easily move on to the first official phase of the Hunter exam, the endurance test, where applicants have to run 80 kilometers, which is 50 miles for those wondering, across a long hallway and finally up a large flight of stairs to complete the phase. And hopefully I shouldn't have to explain why an ultra marathon runner like David Goggins would be able to pass through this phase. But for the fun of the video, let's break it down. So the entire first phase of the exam, the 50-mile run, traveling through Swindler's Swamp, would have taken around 4 to 6 hours. This would mean that the person running would have to be clearing 1 mile every 7 minutes, give or take, to follow the examiner to complete the exam. Even with David Goggins' impressive records, clearing 50 miles in just 6 hours is basically impossible for a normal human. For example, one of his runs, the Badwater 135, is considered to be one of the hardest challenges for marathon runners. The contestants would have to run across 3 mountain ranges in extreme heat and complete 135 miles. His best time for this run was in 2007, where he finished it in 25 hours, 49 minutes, and 40 seconds. Truly insane stuff. But this race would put David Goggins' pace at around 11.3, taking into account things like brakes and stub crew support, which is much slower than what's needed to clear the test in 6 hours. However, I don't think this matters in the long run. See what I did there? As there's no limit for the participants to complete the first phase. So with this in mind, doing 50 miles is light work for David Goggins. As long as he manages to follow the examiner to the second phase, he should be fine. Now this phase requires participants to collect eggs from a spider nest dangling in the middle of a ravine. And yet again, due to his training as a Navy SEAL, he would have likely been a part of special operations that would have required him to gather intel or highly classified items. As well as his Hell Week training again, conditioning his mind to be able to perform tasks under extreme pressure. So let's just move on to the third phase, Trick Tower. As his ability to pass through this phase entirely depends on who he runs into or what teammates he has to help in these challenges. Any mental game, quiz, puzzle, he should have no trouble with. However, if he runs into anyone with superhuman abilities or Nen, he's not getting past them. This is really a 50-50 mix-up. If he gets a good team and avoids any monsters on his path, David Goggins should be fine. Any other scenario, he's pretty much dead. And the same type of reasoning extends into the fourth and final phases of the Hunter exam. The fourth exam would be easier for him to pass, as David Goggins could utilize his Navy SEAL training to help him survive and navigate the island in order to collect the badges he needs to win. But then again, he could get unlucky and he has to get matched up against someone like Hisoka or something. However, he is more likely to avoid more dangerous opponents like him to achieve victory. Something that can't be said for the final phase of the exam, where he has to straight up fight his opponents in a 1v1. Even with his marine training, he realistically only has a 2 out of 9 chance of winning due to the rest having Nen abilities. So to answer the question, could David Goggins pass the Hunter exams? Realistically, no. Yes, if he gets lucky and doesn't run into any Nen users. Happy New Year everyone, and I hope everyone enjoyed the celebrations and spending time with family and friends. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. I cover any franchise or meme matchup floating around. Remember, if it exists, it can be scaled. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.